Alright, it's Tuesday the 19th of May 2026. We're having hopefully a last look at this PSP detour down here in Leederville. So I'm going to start it here at this nice big variable message sign, which is visible from way back. So that's all good. Got a nice clear map there on the fence, all good. Maps are, those signs are actually made out of metal, by the way, they're not printed on core flute. So they're solid and indestructible and probably pretty vandal proof and all that kind of stuff. And I think they've even mounted them to the fences quite securely. I'll have to have a look. I'm not entirely sure if they've used cable ties or something else, but I don't know. Does it matter for a short-term project like this? Probably not. But the quality of the signage they've used through this has been just first class. Alrighty. So in the last video I was talking about buying the bright jerseys and why I like them, and I think I'll talk about that through this detour because there's not much more to add. Okay, signage back here, all of it, the variable message sign, the fence, the Lego blocks down the bottom, it's all nice and clearly visible. This is all good. Oh, they have used cable ties, okay. But on the poles, they've used bolts or screws. So they're not going to shift sideways, they're not going to go up and down. Yeah, sure, you could probably grab it and bend it. It might snap off, but it's not going anywhere. Now, this is the one improvement that I did ask for. So up here on this pole, they've just done a very simple thing. Nice big bright yellow sign, it's bolted on, by the way, telling us to turn left here. Now, I would have liked one on top of that telling us to come down this way, but look, that's good. And again, with it being bolted on, you're not going to have some idiot vandal come along and bend it, the wind's not going to move it, it's going to be pointing that way until either the end of time or they take it down. Now, I don't think there's any other changes along here, so let's talk about bright clothing and stuff. So I read an article on, I think it was Road CC this week, about a bloke that got doored. I think he was in the UK. And he was injured and all the rest of it. And the insurance company for the driver tried to assign 50% of the blame to the cyclist for riding in the door zone, which is just completely crackers. If someone had driven along and cleaned up the guy's door because the driver, failed to look before he opened it, an insurance company would probably never say, oh, the person that hit you, they're at fault too because they weren't driving a metre away from your car. So I've had a couple of experiences of this with police and insurance companies having been hit by cars twice, thankfully not for a long time. But the lesson I took away from my first crash, where I was T-boned at a roundabout where the driver just didn't look clearly and didn't see me, and his daughter in the passenger seat saw me and she was screaming as Dad took off and cleaned me up and flipped me head over foot a couple of times. Anyway, after that, there was compensation claims and all that kind of stuff, and the lawyer for the other insurance company tried to blame me for the driver not seeing me. Now, it wasn't dark, it was like 5 in the afternoon, not low light, but anyway, I still had a nice bright light on the front. So anyway, what I did is I pulled out what I had with me at the time, which was, I think I had a white helmet. I always go for white helmets because they're visible at night, or white or yellow. A jacket like that guy's wearing. Not as fancy, this was 20 years ago, but it was that kind of bright yellowy green fluoro stuff. And most importantly, I pulled out my headlight, which I had on. And back in those days, before we had lithium-ion batteries and all that kind of stuff, it was not a compact little unit. It was essentially a torch that went on the handlebars, and then hanging off the top tube was a dirty great big battery which weighed, well over half a kilo. It was easily bigger than my clenched fist, and it weighed a ton, and it essentially gave about 2 hours of power, but it was bright as day. Anyway, so I took all this stuff into one of the mediation conferences And the other lawyers, they're going, oh, you know, the driver didn't see you because, you know, reasons. So I pulled out the helmet, pulled out the fluoro jacket, pulled out the light, pointed the light in his eyes and turned it on. And he went, Jesus. And I went, so you're telling me that your client failed to see that? 100% blame was assigned to the driver, and you know, the payout came not too long after. You know, paid for the bike and injuries and stuff like that. So anyway, the lesson of that story is you want a ride to be visible. You want to dress to be visible when you ride, particularly in low light conditions. So bright jerseys, you know, don't go and buy a black helmet, don't buy a black rain vest or anything like that, or a gilet and all that stuff. Buy something bright and colourful. Because look, even if you're wearing, you know, hot pink from top to bottom, you're probably still going to get collected. But, you know, when it comes to dealing with the police and dealing with insurance companies and all that kind of stuff, and they're trying to assign blame, and a lot of the time, you know, there's some cops out there that just hate cyclists as well. And if you get one of them, they will do everything in their power to write the report up in a way that's such that you're at fault. You want to give them zero excuses to assign any blame to you. So, you know, if you've got all the bright gear on, and, you know, you say, this is what I was wearing, you know, this hot pink outfit or this hot orange outfit or whatever, and I had a light on the front and it was on and it was flashing, and this is what it's like. It's like, oh my God, that's bright. Yeah, you're probably going to win. Do not give them any reason to you know, take that win away from you, because it could be really important. It could be, you know, life-changing if the accident's serious enough, or you know, if you end up dead, you know, and they're looking to, oh, you know, the driver's not at fault. It's like, how did the driver fail to see this jersey or this vest, you know, this backpack with a big orange panel on it, this helmet, these lights, all that kind of stuff? Either they were distracted, they're legally blind, they did it maliciously and with intent, or they just didn't look properly. But, you know, there's nothing the cyclist did wrong. So, you know, I'm not trying to victim blame if someone gets collected. I'm just saying, you know, make it easy on yourself post-crash for all that kind of stuff to go through cleanly and easily, you know, without a lot of toing and froing, and you know, and it leaves a really bitter taste in your mouth when you've got penny pinching lawyers and insurance adjusters and cops and stuff who are trying to, you know, offload the blame and exonerate the lawyer, not exonerate the lawyer, exonerate the driver and make it seem like you did something wrong. You want to feel like you did everything absolutely right, and you know, there's no loopholes. Anyway, the detour. I didn't need to see that this morning. Yeah, all good. So from what I can see so far, the only adjustment they've made is that new sign back there that I pointed out. And when I rode through here in the other direction this morning, there's just one change I'd make at Aberdeen Street. Now, again, I don't know if this is possible because there's things like, okay, it's to do with the location of the variable message sign. And it's essentially been parked up against the fence, kind of where the detour starts, next to the church. The problem is, as you're riding along Aberdeen Street in that direction, okay, just trying to avoid running over the little rat. Yeah, anyway, I would move that variable message sign forward. And what I mean by that is I would put it up near the traffic lights here, so that as you're coming from my right and you get to the lights, you can see the sign on the other side of the road. At the moment, it's kind of back behind some trees. It's like 20 or 30 metres back. So let's just I'm just going to go down the road here a little bit and come this way. Now, the reason I spotted that this morning is the last time I came, well, the first time I came and had a look at this detour, it was the weekend and there was zero traffic. And of course, here I am Tuesday and there's cars. And as I was riding along here, there were cars in front of me and I couldn't see that sign because cars. So, I can see it now because that lane is empty. So what I would do, and I don't know if this is possible, like they might have put it back here because Main Roads owns this space or something and they can legally put it here without any problems or something like that, or maybe they've done it. No, I don't understand why they put it there. But anyway, again, this just comes back to testing. You test this stuff out and see what works. Now, what I did ask for as well, and they've done it already, was just to repaint those diamonds there and that symbol. Anyway, about where that lady is over there, that's where I would have put the variable message sign. So as you're coming from that direction, somewhere in that forecourt of the church. Now, that might involve negotiations with the church. Maybe the church said no. I don't know, but that's my take. Anyway, it's a bloody good detour, and that'll do.